Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
Welcome to a special episode of Dad's Talk Film, the show where we take clips from a new movie every show and talk about how it relates to life, family, relationships, and whatever else comes to our tangent-filled mind.
But today we're doing something special again. It's a Christmas miracle. You get two movies in one.
2, 4, 1. Santa Claus is bringing in the gifts today.
You get a movie and you get a movie. Two movies.
Two films that just drastically
polar
contrast each other. We got one that is full of love, joy, filled with Christmas spirit and uplifting feelings, and another one that is about robbery, alcoholism, selfishness, murder,
sex,
and high-speed chases. Oh, yeah, and a bunch of sex. So you take your pick what your Christmas spirit feels like. So the first one is Elf. The next one is Bad Santa. And we're just going to compare how those do. I don't think we could have picked any Christmas movies like within the same realm-ish of the comedy realm to really compare to. So great contrasts on these. But before we get there, Sean Marcus has a little bit something special, a little bit Christmas present for our good buddy Ryan Reynolds. So I'm going to let him take over.
Well, Ryan still has not contacted us. No surprise there. This is how long we've been waiting for him to come to our show and grace us with his presence. Get it? Dad joke. But this episode, I want to do something a little different. So I wrote him a little Christmas song. So hopefully you guys all enjoy.
Pull the bow off of that one. Press the play button on. I'm dreaming of Ryan Reynolds because we want him on our show. For his eyes they glisten and we keep listening to hear his appearances ago. I'm dreaming of Ryan Reynolds. He started on that 15 show, and the outer limits for 18 minutes, and the X-Files if you didn't know. I'm dreaming of Ryan Reynolds. We're excited for the third Deadpool. This one has Hugh Jackman, more non-stop action, and Ryan being super cool. I'm dreaming of Ryan Reynolds. With every episode we air, may our pop-ups be about his great hair, and may he one day sit in our guest chair.
Hopefully, Ryan enjoyed that song, and that's enough to woo him to brace us to come on to our show and join us. Yeah. If you guys like that song, share it with your friends. Link below.
dang, you got to make some money off that song. Just play it on Christmas Day.
It's the Festivus for the rest of us.
Let's talk about Elf first. Elf is a movie that you really enjoyed, and I actually just learned to enjoy as well. So I'll let you explain a little bit about what Elf
you're learning stuff.
About.
You're learning to appreciate the finer arts. Right. Elf is the story of a human baby that gets adopted by elves at the North Pole, and one day finds out, surprise, you're not actually an elf, you're a human, and your dad lives in New York City, and he's on the naughty list. So... so he's gonna go find him, and he takes the innocence and joy of the North Pole and goes to the Big Apple to learn about his new family, or his real family, and real life.
Because he grew up thinking he was an elf, even though he was way bigger than everyone else and not as good at all the tinkering stuff because he was so big. I actually enjoyed this movie this time.
So what changed your tune on this movie?
I think before I didn't totally appreciate Will Ferrell's comedy. I like Step Brothers, one of my favorite comedies of all time, which is weird because it's a Will Ferrell movie, but I didn't fully appreciate that style of comedy. He just seemed obnoxious to me before, and he's still obnoxious, but it's just such a cool little character, and it's such an uplifting film, and there's so many quotable and funny moments. Like, Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? And he's just such man, he's such a kid, but it's just all the things you kind of miss that you could channel into. And I don't know. There was just something about it that was very enjoyable for me now. I don't know. It's just been so long since I've seen it. There's just so many good moments. But did Santa actually adopt Buddy, or did he accidentally steal him? Because technically
he crawled into the bag.
That's why I said accidentally crawled into the bag.
Him. I don't know.
So
and he didn't adopt him. That other elf guy did. Right?
Yeah, no, Papa Elf takes care of him and raises him. So in a sense, he's kind of like Buddy's stepfather. And you can see that he misses him when he's going to go and meet or try to find his real dad and all that. But he's supportive of it. He's like, yeah, you go do your thing. But I love little things where because this is directed by John, I always pronounce his last name wrong. Favreau.
I was just going to say, fun fact. A lot of people don't know that Jon Favreau wrote it and directed it and produced it. And I was just talking to Stacy 2 days ago. We were watching something else, and I'm like, who would have thought that the party guy from Swingers would grow up to dominate Hollywood with everything? He is just slaying it right now.
Yeah, and doing an amazing job with it all. Because I grew up reading comic books and all that stuff, so I hold all that. And I know some people are just tired of all the Marvel stuff, but he really took all that stuff and ran with it and launched this whole thing that was really cool for me. It's like seeing my childhood come alive. And then on top of that, he just dominated in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And is just killing that. It's he has a cool understanding that I wish a lot more directors and writers would of source material from, if you're going to take an old franchise, he knows how to take that franchise and stick with what the core of it is and make it feel authentic and enjoyable rather than just trying to do your own crazy spin on it.
Was Iron Man the first thing he did?
Yeah, for Marvel. Yeah, he pushed for that.
I mean, I just remember seeing that movie and I'm like, whoa, I guess I'm a Marvel guy now.
Yeah, I appreciate his contribution, especially recently to the film and film world, but also improving and coming up with or giving people the platform to create new ways to film with green screen or Unreal effects and stuff, because they have those whole stages that aren't even green screen anymore. They actually just project whatever they made in, I think it's Unreal. Digital,
the Real Engine or whatever it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's super awesome. Yeah. But anyway, enough drooling over his awesome filmmaking.
I've got another elf Fun fact. One of the elves, Ming Ming, his name is, one of the main little elves. You know who he is?
I don't even know who Ming Ming is. Remember, I'm terrible with.
Anyways, he was the one that was like, "Oh, how many have you done?" You know, he was that guy. He is actually Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to look him up.
Yeah, yeah. Watch that because it's like, holy cow, that's Ralphie.
That's funny.
Yeah. I just picture him in the little pink, bunny suit.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a cotton-headed ninny muggins for not knowing that one.
I mean, I just recently, after watching it this last time, enjoyed it. So I need to watch it again. And really absorb all the stuff. So,
but you were saying that it's super quotable. Of the two movies, I think for sure Elf is more quotable. And we quote it almost daily because, when the narwhal comes up. Oh, narwhal, fun fact! It's not actually a horn. It's a tooth that's growing out of their upper lip. Take that. Enjoy that little narwhal fact. Anyways,
I thought you were going somewhere completely different with that, but
do you have a fun fact about narwhals?
No, I don't. But I was just thinking that they had the old. I loved that he brought in those old stop motion.
Yes, yeah, I loved how
Christmas.
It had that classic Christmas, stop motion feel to it.
It's cool because he just kind of made it like
it looked like.
He made it be like, well, this is actually real stuff instead of just a movie. So it was kind of cool.
But anyway, so when the narwhal comes up and he's like, "Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad." We say that all the time because Sebastian, we call him Buddy all the time amongst all the other million nicknames that we have for him, like Baby Brat Bastard, Squishy Bear, and Head.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think these two movies, though, Elf and Bad Santa, are a cool contrast for us to have because Elf Buddy obviously grew up in a very loving family, even though he was a bit different, because he's not actually an elf and he's a human and, gets everyone's like caring and stuff like that. He has Papa Elf, who obviously took good care of him, raising him, even though he's still kind of childlike. So I think you just don't get the maturity levels in there. But then you go into Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton playing Willie, who is an alcoholic safecracker, is what he is. And so the whole premise of the show is that, or the movie is that him and Tony Cox, who plays Marcus, they work together every Christmas season and play Santa and his little helper elf. But their whole thing is they're just running scams. So they get hired at all these different malls every year. And then just before the mall closes, Marcus stays in there hidden like the very first time he was dressed up in a snowman costume. He's just booking it for the alarm because they know the alarm code to shut it off before it goes. And then they go to the safe and Willie, takes his time safe cracking as Marcus just goes and robs the whole place. So it's crazy differences between these movies, which I thought was a cool idea for us when we decided to put
it's a good dichotomy. Is that the word? Dichotomy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have to do another definition thing again?
Yeah.
Every episode you're doing math or you're trying to bring up new words, but I like that you're expanding your vocabulary. So
broadening the minds of our viewers and listeners.
Educational.
Yeah. See, if you're on a podcast, you're not going to get the definition. You got to pop on YouTube to see what the dichotomy means.
The similarities though between the two is Buddy's real dad, Walter. They obviously put their kid up for adoption. He didn't know that he was ever going to run into him again and all that. And his dad is all about working, whereas Willie had an abusive father that actually would burn cigarettes onto him. So there's like extreme differences still there in the similarity, but they both have a father that doesn't really appreciate them in the moment.
But deep down, Willie, as much of a terrible human being that he was, he still had the true meaning of Christmas spirit and giving and all that deep down. It was just hidden by bottles of booze.
Yeah, he had bottles of booze just dumping out. But man, I just watched Bad Santa, the other day, and this movie was way more sad than I remember. I used to like Bad Santa a lot, but man, I don't know if it's because having a baby and stuff now, if my mindset just changes a little bit with it all. But I always felt bad for the kid, and I don't think he has a name. Oh no, he does. It's like they tell you it's something. What is it?
Malvin? No, I forget. But they just call him the kid.
Yeah, they call him the kid. I remember I always felt bad for him when I was younger and watched this movie, and I even felt worse now watching him because this kid just has a terrible life. He gets bullied all the time too, and is just kind of trying to cling on to any father figure.
Cling on.
To any father figure that he can. And it's kind of sad because, he helps out Willie and then is just clinging on to that because he's Santa and all that and brings him to his house. And then Willie ends up learning that it's only the grandma that basically is just non-existent there. She's like falling asleep all the time and doesn't remember anything. And so he decides to
just rob a little bit of dementia.
Yeah. And then he robs the kid's house. I felt terrible on that. And then on top of that, lives at the kid's house. So I don't know, man. It's just a bombardment of just tough subjects, I think, in Bad Santa.
Let me ask you this. Who do you think was more innocent in heart? Was it the kid or was it Elf? Who's more innocent and pure?
I think Buddy, for sure.
You think Buddy?
Yeah, because he grew up completely different. I think I felt more for the kid in Bad Santa because
but even through all the crap that he had to live with, he was still so gentle.
Yeah. No, he was. I think that maybe that's why I just felt so bad for him is because he's so kind and they're both a little bit probably like both Buddy and the kid are both probably a little underdeveloped in their age, like for maturity level.
Definitely. I got to say, watching both of these movies, I know they've been out for a while, but I just kept thinking like, man, RIP, R.I.P. James Caan, Bernie Mac, Cloris Leachman, all of those people have died. And kind of sad. All funny people.
So what about you though, man? I know you're a huge fan of Elf. Even, man, I was watching Elf and I was watching Will Ferrell's movements and stuff and his facial expressions. And I was sitting there thinking, man, you could just throw Shawn Marcus's face on this and it'd just be just like how he acts already. You're pretty much Elf in real life.
Yeah, I loved his buddy's innocence and just his reaction to everyday things like intercoms and escalators and the buttons in the elevator.
That was so funny. He's like, he didn't know how it worked. The other guy comes in, clicks the button. So he's like, okay, clicks a button. And then he just lights it all up. He's like, it's like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And then he gets off on one of the floors and the guy has half the floor still to go.
I'm sorry I can't ride the rest with you. This is where my dad works though.
Yeah.
How pissed would you be if you got on an elevator and some kid did that or an adult?
And with how many floors are on that, I wish you could click the button again just to turn them off. They should really make it so you can do that.
Fun fact. They're not all elevators, but there are some elevators. If you press the door closed and the lobby button or the floor that you want to go to, it will skip everybody else and go straight to that floor. It's like a fireman safety thing. Not all of them do it, but some do it.
Have you tried it?
I haven't spent a lot of time in elevators, but next time I'm in one.
Dang, you're just going to throw out fun facts and not even have tested them out?
Yeah, but I did look it up and it is true about some elevators. So
comment below if you've done that.
Yeah.
And it actually works.
Yeah.
Because I have never heard of that, but I might try it. Okay, so I know you love Elf.
Yeah.
What's your take on Bad Santa? Did you like Bad Santa before, or is it just because it contrasts so much?
Yeah, I thought Bad Santa was funny the first time I saw it. I mean, now as an adult, I I kind of like cringe a little bit when they say like the R word or or when they you know, some of the things they say that's like, I definitely wouldn't fly today. But I mean, it's supposed to be just the worst people. It's a movie about the worst people at Christmas. So I guess
it's really about like, the worst people and a lot of broken people, I guess, people that have had a lot of hardship. Let's put it that way. People that have a lot of hardship in their life.
But did Marcus really have hardships, or was he just an a-hole?
I mean, I think a lot of people that are like assholes in like that and go to the point of murder probably had some hardship in their life. They just didn't cover it in the film.
They don't have his backstory. So what you want is a backstory, an origin story to Marcus and his wife.
You know what his backstory is? It's Willow. It's the only other movie I remember off the top of my head that he's in. So,
flashback to one of our past episodes, or maybe not. But it's basically, I think, the best polar opposite examples of what Christmas is. You've got Buddy the Elf and Willie the Santa. One with devil horns and one with a halo.
I think it's going to be easier for me to talk about Elf just because it's like so much more enjoyable and fun and funny. Because, you know, Bad Santa is just, man, it's just kind of like, it has its funny moments. Like you said, it gets kind of racy with some of the terminology and stuff that they use, like slurs and stuff on like specific types of people. And you're like, wow, man, that just would not fly today, like you just mentioned. And
at the same time, though, as bad as Billy was, he, like I said, he had the Christmas spirit inside him. And in the end, I mean, was willing to sacrifice his own life to give this kid what he wanted for Christmas.
Yeah, man.
Damn pink elephant.
I had some heart moments there, man. Yeah. And when the kid comes out and when Willie says, you know, I'm not Santa. He's like, I know. Cause he's like, he's giving him a gift and stuff. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, but I was just hoping since we're friends, you might want to give me a present. Cause he mentions that he never got presents for Christmas because like Santa just never came. Cause he's like, because I'm just like a worthless dipshit or something he says on
worthless
there. And I was like, man, like no kid should ever be like feeling that about themselves or saying anything like that about themselves. You know, so just like makes me feel for him. But also you saw Willie connect with him in that moment. He's like, stop saying that stuff like about yourself. That's like, you know, just not the truth in it all. So, and, you know, so like you said, Willie was all about getting him what he wanted in the end. And you could see that he really started to care about the kid. And even in the end, you know, he said he goes on this high speed chase in this car just to he's like, this kid's getting his damn present or something this year. And he makes it all the way there. And then he does everything he can to make sure that kid's good to go because he knows his dad's not going to be around. And
I think though, if you have them, you know, back to back, both movies, I think Elf nudges it out a little bit, but both movies have just hysterical little segments and, you know, laughable moments. They're both funny, I think. And I think my funniest part was in Bad Santa is Marcus and Bernie Mac when they're negotiating the terms. And he's like, all right, 30%. And Bernie Mac is like, half. And he's like, 35%, half. And then he just gets quieter and quieter. And then he's like, at the end, he's like, half.
Yeah, Bernie Mac's pretty great. Yeah. So, like I said, sad we lost a lot of these actors and stuff because he was great. And I always just mostly remember him. Well, he had his own show, wasn't it? Just called The Bernie Mac Show. Yeah. I remember watching that. And then Ocean's 11. Yeah. He was solid in that and fun in that as well.
Every time I eat cookies, I think of Bernie Mac because one of his stand-ups, he was talking about how his kid comes down the stairs like 3 a.m. He's like, where are you going? He's like, I want some milk and cookies. And so whenever I have cookies, I'm like, I want some milk and cookies.
I think I'm going to go with 2 funny things, one from each. And then one of them's kind of, again, getting on, I mean, with Elf, like on the racy side, I guess. But is
on Elf?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's in a fun spirit though. But they have Peter Dinklage, who is Miles Finch. He's a writer like that they have come in, and Buddy comes in. He's just so excited because he's in love and he doesn't care who hears about it. And he sees Peter Dinklage, who's a tiny person. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you had elves work for you." And I was just kind of like cracking up because, Peter Dinklage probably has to deal with that all the time, but how they handled it was so funny. He's like, "Call me an elf again." And he just comes over and just whoops on Buddy. And then he's like choking him out. He's like, "Call me an elf again." He's like, "You're an elf." But it's funny because Buddy just doesn't know because he grew up with elves and elves are real to him. So he thinks, and he's like, "Oh, he must be from the South Pole. He's angry."
Yeah, we quote that all the time too. It's like, "Oh, he's an angry elf." We say that all the time.
Yeah, that's the line. That's so funny.
Ooh, he's an angry elf.
And then going back into fighting, we're going to go back into Bad Santa and the part where Willie is really starting to care about this kid and realizes that he's getting bullied by older kids. So he wants to teach him how to fight. So he has Marcus and the kid in a boxing ring, and Marcus is like, "Why do I got to do this?" He's like, "Well, look at him. Like, he's pathetic and all that stuff." But it's just so funny because the kid tries to scream and he's just this big softy. He doesn't want to have to fight or anything. But how he solves that fighting problem is just, it's like a kick to the balls. He's like, "You don't hit him in the balls." And there's just a bunch of nut shots going back and forth. Everybody gets a nut shot. You get a nut shot. You get a nut shot.
Everybody gets a nut shot. I love that scene where Marcus got hit in the nuts and he just falls over like a bowling pin, like, wing. Just whoop, whoop, whoop. But man, whenever I'm holding Sebastian, he is just sacking me in the nuts pretty much. I have to have him on my thigh, because if I have him like in the middle, he is like river dancing on my balls. Just like ah. And like Marcus said, you don't hit a guy in the nuts.
I mean, it's a fight. You got to do what you got to do. I'm going to go off on a tangent here because we're talking about fights. And this is kind of brutal, but they're like, "Oh, like rules of fighting. You don't want to hit people in the nuts." But I'm also just surprised in real life, like that there's not more eye gouging that goes on. Just like, that would end a fight super quick. It's like an unwritten rule. Like, why aren't more people getting their eyes thumbed out?
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever been in a fight?
I've been in one fight, but I just talk a lot of. I never laid a punch.
It's more fun to talk. That's just arguing.
Well, I had 3 people come up and they were stealing from a friend's house at a party, and I called them out on it, and they, I started talking. They came up and punched me in the face.
Oh, so
yeah, and I'm just like, well, one of them was a girl. And she actually hit harder than her boyfriend. So I was like, "Man, your girlfriend just hit me harder than you did."
I don't know if that was a fight. I think you just got jumped.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, I haven't gotten in a fight, but I mean, it's entertaining.
It's for the best, man.
But I think
be fighting.
I think I like that, and I thought it was funny that Willie's come to Jesus moment was when he was kicking the shit out of those kids for beating up on him, and he's like, "No, I think this is my purpose."
Oh man, yeah. Man, and he's always wearing the Santa outfit no matter what's going on. Like when he's just at his house, he's just chilling by himself without the Santa stuff on. But if he's just out in public, he's in the Santa gear for some reason, except for when he's behind the bar. But that's not during Christmas season. So when he's pretending he's the bartender, but he's actually just hooking himself up with the drinks and stuff. But he's always wearing the Santa gear. Yeah. Like when he's beating the kids down or if he's...
That's probably his only clothes that he had.
I mean, he had the Hawaiian shirt. He's like, "I got summer gear and Santa gear." So summer and winter.
Yeah, but remember in the movie though, that somebody was in his room ransacking it, and he's like, leave it. Like, go stay in your car. Do you got somewhere else to stay? So that's why he ended up at the kid's house.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, some cop-like looking people there or something." Which I'm pretty sure that was just Bernie Mac, or Jen is his name.
So I'm at least kind of glad that you're a fan of Elf now.
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie now, and the humor is growing on me a bit.
I mean, we pretty much watch it every Christmas. It's, obviously A Christmas Story, Elf, Die Hard, and the one we watch the most, Christmas Vacation.
Yep. I think that's one thing we can agree on, at least it sounds like we can agree on, is that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I wouldn't call it a Christmas movie, but I definitely watch it at Christmas every year.
Well, fine. Then maybe we don't fully agree.
Should we get in a fight about it? Are you glad that we did a double header on this?
I think I am.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was just fun to revisit these movies because I haven't in so long.
I'm hoping next year we do Christmas Vacation, because that is just comic gold. And
that's another one I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
But I remember it being really good. All those ones were pretty good. I always liked European Vacation as well.
European Vacation, I think, is one of the funnier movies, especially being European.
I think I always liked European Vacation when I was a kid because it has boobs in it.
Yeah, I did remember that as man, what was I, 7 or 8 years old when we watched that? I was like, whoa.
Boobies!
Yeah. Milk.
Mm-hmm. Is that what it is? Is it this?
Yeah, it's this. That's the sign language for milk. Yeah. So are we rating both movies, or are we rating the duality of the two? How about we rate the two? Let's rate the two as the duality of Christmas good and evil.
Like if you were going with the vibe of more evil, then you're going over.
Oh yeah, okay.
Bad Santa, and then if you're going with the vibe of Elf, you go with the other side.
Yeah, let's do that.
Where would you fall in line?
You as a person yourself, where do you lie on that scale? We've got Bad Santa over here, and we've got Buddy the Elf over here. Where on this scale do you lie?
I would say for me, probably if you were to talk to me a year or two ago, I would probably be really close to Bad Santa on that. But going down that little negative road with my own like insecurities and.
You mean your parole officer? If we asked him.
Never had a parole officer. I did have 2 years of unsupervised probation though. So like I said, I would have been over here a little bit more in the Bad Santa.
But today,
I'm going over towards Elf. I think with my newfound fatherhood and stuff like that, I'm just, a little bit more lighthearted. Things don't matter as much, and I'm not like going down these darker roads. And plus, you just got to be fun and goofy for your kids. So I think I'm going to be way over here a little bit more. I'm pushing old self down, and we're going into Elf territory.
I'm a little more on the Willie's side, I think, considering the fact that one of my nicknames for Sebastian is
I think
I guess I'm more on Willie's side.
Yeah.
Parent of the year.
Man, I think you are then. Well, at least we swapped, because we could have been both on the same side easily.
Yeah.
Both are good movies. I would say, personally, I would watch Elf or Bad Santa, because it's just a bit more uplifting, fun for the family and stuff like that. And maybe that's the thing, too. Maybe I'm more in family mode now, and so I feel like Elf is just something more positive and uplifting and cool to share. And
if the Elf musical ever comes to town, that's a fun one. Go watch that.
Oh, is that an actual thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does Will Ferrell play in it?
No. He does not. Have you ever heard Will Ferrell singing? I mean, you've heard him singing in the movie.
He's got his shirt off and he's singing and everything.
I'm in a store and I'm singing. Yeah. He's not. I don't think you'd want to see him in a musical.
Yeah. So that's it for our Christmas episode.
Ho, ho, ho.
Make sure you go like, subscribe, hit up all the stuff with Venmo and Patreon and all that socials. Good stuff. Spread some Christmas cheer to everybody, and you guys have a great Christmas. Hope you got something you wanted. Hopefully you got a cool pink elephant or something in there, and make sure you put syrup on everything.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
I'm